Hey ho, people! It's your boy Open9, and today we have Mono Grass. Just like I said, I would feature one last week. Now, Mono Grass is, in my opinion, not my favorite. And I don't think it's particularly strong either, but I do think it's very creative in terms of how you can team build, kind of like Ghost. And I wanted to feature Rillaboom, so that's why I built this team. So we have Life Orb, Rillaboom, we have Sword Stance, Grassy Glide, Superpower, and Knockoff. I went for this particular set because I may or may not have used this in OU before, but this is the set that I would use if I wasn't using Bandit and if I went for Life Orb. Let's see what else. You could use high horsepower instead of superpower, I think, for Heatran and whatnot, but or even your poison types. But I think superpower is probably better, all things considered. Especially, it also helps us break through steel types. But it's entirely up to you. High horsepower is also totally fine. In fact, I might as well just change it because we do have a fighting type here, which I will get to. But that's all there is for Rillaboom. Next time, we're moving on to Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is a staple on both Steel and Grass teams. Okay, they just can't function without him, and Ferrothorn just provides so much utility that you can't even. I mean, there really is no substitute. Now we have Stealth Rock, Protect, Leech Seed, and Iron Head. So we're just trying to set up rocks and then trying to scout for our opponent's moves with Protect. Drain him out with Leech Seed and also provide Rillaboom with some support because it has Life Orb, and Iron Head instead of Gyro Ball because I got swept by a Calm Mind Hatterene and I don't want that to happen again. Now, Ferrothorn's best partner, in my opinion, is Mega Venusaur, but we don't have Megas this generation, so we have Appleton instead. Now, Appleton comes with Thick Fat, which is Fire and Ice type moves against this Pokemon deal half damage with a half attacking stat, so this thing can take fire moves for days with its pretty decent Spadef. We have Apple Acid, Recover, Leech Seed, and Protect, which is your standard Smogon set. And we have lefties for this, obviously, for this thing to be able to switch in on anything that can force Ferrothorn out, which is typically, Flamethrower. For anything that Appleton is weak to, we can always go back into Ferrothorn, so it's going to be a headache for our opponent who's trying to scout for moves. And the most important thing is that because we're running Protect on both of them, if we have an opponent with Choice Lock Pokemon, we can easily scout, and then, they're the ones who have to rely more on prediction than us, right? So that's why we have Ferrothorn and Appleton here. Now we have our basic lawnmower here, Rotomo. We have Nasty Plot, Substitute, Thunderbolt, and Dark Pulse for this with lefties. We're going max HP, even though this thing has a shit HP stat, because we are trying to deal with flying types better, and this thing takes neutral damage from flying types if I'm not wrong. So being able to with max HP, we'll be able to live any one unboosted flying. Typically, I don't know, maybe we can live in Hurricane from something, and then we'll be able to get a Nasty Blot off, or at least chase it out with Thunderbolt. So that's Rotomo's roll compression for this particular team. Following that, we have Whimsicott with Leftovers and Prankster. Now, this particular speed tier is to be faster than Hydreigon and be able to hit things back, while the rest of it is put into defense so that this thing will be able to switch in on physical hits and then maybe get Leech Seed and Protect and, just kind of go from there. Moonblast is actually really effective even though we have no Spadef investment, because if we're playing Mono Dragon, they don't want to come in on this Moonblast. It's still going to do significant damage. I actually beat a pretty strong Mono Dragon team that also had a Choice Scarf Duraludon with just this one Whimsicott. So it's, trust me, Moonblast, one of the best moves in the entire game. Now, to finally wrap up the whole team, we can kind of see that we're lacking speed. So I have Virizion here with the Choice Scarf and Justified. Leaf Blade, Close Combat, obviously Stab. And then we have Stone Edge to hit flying types, because in case Rotom is dead or something like that, we just would like that extra coverage. And then Smart Strike, like I said, we do have a problem with Calm Mind Hatterene, so Smart Strike is definitely going to be able to break through fairies for us. Because, I mean, sure, Ferrothorn can Iron Head and, it does do damage, but Virizion, obviously, it's faster than everything, and it can kind of just sweep if it's late enough in the game and all our opponents are, all the fairies on the opposing team are weakened, right? So that's kind of the team. You can kind of see that this is more of a balanced build because we have like 2 dedicated defensive mons, and then this is like a little bit defensive, and then Rotom is also max HP, so our only true offensive options are Rillaboom and Virizion. Not to say Rotom can like function offensively, because it is an offensive set at the end of the day, because we're running Nasty Plot, right? So there's that, but I think the team can generally hold itself on its own, because the idea is to set up rocks, and then we kind of want to also be able to set up Leech Seed and drain our opponent's lives while we stall them out with Protect. So that's like, we're trying to play this long game with Mono Grass, because I don't think we have enough grass power in Mono Grass to be able to deal offensive damage. For instance, Kartana is banned from Monotype, so we can't use that, so that's why we're going for this team. We're going with this team. That'll be all for the team. I will be back with a game. Alright people, so I found this game against a mono steel team. Now on first sight, it looks like Virizion will be able to put in work, but for as long as that Aegislash is alive, we can't really CC spam, and also I think Steelix and Corviknight will always be able to switch into that, so it's not really, the best option. But, and also Rillaboom doesn't really look very good here, but, I just wanted to see if this team would perform well. So we start off, and he sends out Cobalion, and I sent out Appleton because, I mean, literally none of his Pokemon have anything for Appleton, so I thought just being able to get off Leech Seed and then start annoying my opponent would have been pretty good. Now he goes for Air Slash, which is interesting, so it turns out he's special. And then he goes to Steelix. I just protected there because I just protected there because I thought he would just keep attacking me. Now I should have scouted that Toxic by going for Protect. That's my bad. A little haphazard, but in the end it turned out to be fine. I did get some chip on the Steelix, which is nice. He leaves and I leave as well. Now when I went into Ferrothorn, I was a little bit worried that Copperajah might have Heat Crash, but then that's only like a thing in Ranbats. I haven't seen that Heat Crash on it otherwise, so I was fine with setting up rocks there. Go into Cobalion, and then at this point I just wanted to sack the Appleton and then get some chip on it, which is why I tried to set up Leech Seed, but then I got flinched there. But at least Life Orb is doing plenty of damage to this Cobalion, so I was pretty happy about it. I go into Virizion to pick this off with CC. So that's that, and honestly that was a huge problem with Air Slash. I'm glad I got that out of the way. And then turns out the Steelix had Fire Fang, but that does negative damage to Ferrothorn because we are fully physically defensive. He crits an Earthquake. We can't get a Leech Seed off. Alright, and then I go for Protect again. He goes for Fire Fang. The things you have to do just to stall out your opponents. So I get off the second Leech Seed that I go for, and then we get a little bit of luck here because I go for my first Protect, which I get, and then I also go for my next Protect, and we get lucky there, and then I managed to kill the Steelix. Now, so just looking at things, I'm down 1, he's down 2. His situation with close combat does not, just looks a little bit less sturdy, because once that Aegislash is dead, I'll be able to spam close combat with this. But anyway, so he goes into Aegislash. He Sword Stances. I miss 1 Leech Seed. I had good fortune, and then it immediately goes away because he Sacred Swords, and then I can't get a second Leech Seed off. Now, I also want to mention, So I also want to mention, this guy was +2, and he couldn't kill a fully physically defensive Ferrothorn with Sacred Sword. Now, that's why you want to run powerful moves like Close Combat instead, so that he could have just gotten the kill, because if I gotten the Leech Seed off, I'll be able to drain health from him, like right from turn 1 when he got in, and then I missed that first leech seed, right? So that's why sometimes it's better to, especially if you're trying to run a more offensive team, it's always better to go for the more powerful move, even if it has like side effects you don't really want, or secondary effects you don't really want, right? So he goes for Sacred Sword again, doesn't get it because I'm protected. And then I don't know why he has these here, because he should have just gone for the kill, because now I just get more, I just sap Aegislash out of more life. So and then he uses the second protect as a chance to Sword Stance, but I wasn't worried because I always had Prankster Whimsicott with substitute, so Aegislash was doing nothing to it, which I exactly go into. And then I protect, just stall him out more, sub up, and then because Sneak and Prankster have the same priority and Whimsicott is the faster Pokemon, so I'm always going to go first. Subbing up was always the play there, regardless of whether he went for anything or swapped, so that I could do this. So Magnezone is getting chipped, which is great. Honestly, at this point, like, it looks like a Leech Seed is the winner of this game, right? Because our offensive mons haven't really done anything, and also with all the Leech Seed misses we had, it's been a pain in the ass. That's just to show you how unreliable a mere 90% move can be. And I haven't even built teams that were overly like reliant on like Hurricane maybe, or something other like Focus Blast. Those teams would be atrocious, right? Because this is the kind of suffering I have to endure for just going for Leech Seed. Now, enough about Leech Seed. So the reason why I sacked Whimsicott there was because at this point I kind of realized once that Aegislash went down, Rotom just went crazy here, because both of these are now taking Thunderbolts, and then this I could just pick off with Dark Balls. And I kind of want to cover this, so my entire defensive backbone is dead, but look at the cost of killing these three. We managed to pick up the 3 Pokemon that were basically preventing one of my Pokemon from sweeping, and that's kind of how your defensive core should kind of work with balanced teams, in my opinion. You should just be able to chip down whatever win con you're trying to settle for. In this case, I thought Virizion might have been the win con, so I was just trying to go for kills on Aegislash, Steelix, and Corviknight. But given that he gave me these 3 Pokemon, I kind of realized there was a new win con that was rising up in the name of Rotom. So in this situation, and that's why I got the seed off too, so that I'll be able to do this. And then even forget he does have Brave Bird, so nearly chips me for half, but I'll be able to recover quite a bit of it back. So, and then at this point I can just go for Thunderbolt and then Dark Balls and sweep from here, which is exactly what happens. Magnezone is obviously slower than me because it's on a balloon. Dark Balls picks it off. He goes into Copperajah, and then I set up a Thunderbolt. Heavy Slam does nothing. Another Thunderbolt, and then poor guy misses the player off. Now I don't know if that would have killed, probably not, but not like it mattered at this point, because not like it mattered at that point because I had Virizion that I could just go into to CC, and then I don't think Virizion could have taken a CC. Maybe it could have, maybe it mattered, maybe he could have critted, but we're talking about things that have a really low probability. So but yeah, shout out to Leech Seed for being the MVP for this game. Even though I missed so much, it basically helped me chip things down, and I think that's one of Grass's biggest strengths, right? And when it comes to monotype, you really just want to play with the strengths of your team or your type and try to work around what can work with it, so that so the overall team is effective and you can kind of gear your team towards one particular archetype. So in this case, I saw that Appleton plus Ferrothorn is an amazing core, and then I kind of wanted to add Whimsicott just to be able to provide that extra defensive utility for Ferrothorn, probably be able to take dark and fighting attacks for it, so Whimsicott kind of helps out in that situation. And then with the strong 3 core, we kind of just needed to patch up speed with Virizion, and then a physical and a special breaker. So pretty pretty standard as far as like team building goes, but it was really effective in helping me chip down a steel team, which grass obviously does not do well against. And looking at my opponent's team, I think they should have played Cobalion a lot better, because I only had Virizion that was faster, right? Yeah. And if they had managed to deal with Virizion and Rotom, it was just a sweep with Cobalion, in my opinion. And I don't know what this Copperajah had, but they definitely could have used it better to get some heavy hits off. As for Steelix, that Fire Fang was pretty good, but I think they should have used the surprise factor of it for Pokemon other than Ferrothorn. Like, I don't think Whimsicott or Rotom would have taken that as well as Ferrothorn did. Well, I say well, but it still took like 30%, right? And then I don't think Magnezone is doing much in this team here, at least against me. But that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed the team, and as usual, I'll drop it down in the description. Leave a like if you like what you saw, and leave some comments for any other suggestions in the future. And that's all. Hope y'all enjoyed. So peace.